is worthy of wealth in this country?
This episode is going to just be like hot lava.
And I think it's important for us to talk about not only who has wealth, but to talk about who's managing that wealth creation. So in today's episode, we'll talk about kind of the genesis and the current state of wealth creation in this country.
What were the engines of economic growth and wealth creation? The common denominators is melanin, oppression, and power.
No matter how good they are, they're going to find something to try and tear you down.
Today, we're going to share some receipts on the generational wealth gaps in America and Black professionals in finance. Maximize your retirement alternatives. Pay yourself first. Get a financial planner. So again, close the gender pay equity gap. Corporate America, you can do this.
Hey PR, what's going on today, my brother? How you doing?
Man, I'm hanging in there, man. You know, always something. It's always something to watch on TV these days. Something to hear in the news.
Always. Yeah. And PR, you know I'm all about the money, right? And our nation's monetary policy has been on my mind a lot lately. It's crazy. Over the last few months, we have this dude that's in the White House constantly attacking the Federal Reserve Board and all those federal agencies that do all that nonpartisan economic data. You know, I'm a finance guy, so I think about these things all the time. And, you know, the most disturbing aspect about all this stuff that's going on is like the attacks that's been going on Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook. I'm sure you heard about her a little bit in the news, right?
Yeah, always going after the sisters, man.
Always.
I just want to kind of take it back one quick second here. You said you've been thinking about some money. When are you not thinking about some cash?
Well, you know, I'm right on brand all the time. All the time.
Exactly. But yeah, no, he's been, really just going in on.
He's been going in. And for y'all who don't know, Lisa Cook is the first Black woman in the history of our country to serve on the Federal Reserve Board. And this administration has been trying to fire her for like months on these unsubstantiated claims of mortgage fraud, right? And we know, we've talked about this a lot. You know, home ownership is the number one key to creating generational wealth. And then you also have this Black woman in this really powerful position, you know, doing her thing. This is her career. She's making her money, doing her thing. And all of it just made me start to stop and just pause for a minute and just ponder, like, who is worthy of wealth in this country?
Yeah. And who determines it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, whoa, man. I think, look, we've been talking about this generational wealth gap since we started C-CRETS, right? Like, we've been talking about well before then, but like this is part and parcel of why we even started it. And I'm so glad we're going to address this head on today, right? Because this has really been bothering me, among other things, but this is definitely...
Yes, you always bothered.
This has been getting at me, right? And your question about who was, worthy really gets to the heart of how Americans view money and wealth, right? And, this episode is going to just be like hot lava, over here, right? Because we are really just about to start just cooking when it comes to this. So, KP, this is kind of wild when you think back to when we were growing up and what we thought being rich was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But there's a big difference in my mind in terms of like from being rich on TV or rich in the streets.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. There's a big difference there.
Yeah, there's a big difference, in terms of that. Like, because again, what we thought was rich wasn't really rich, back in the day. Now on TV, I mean, we didn't really have, much to see, where someone that looked like me, and you was rich,
For sure.
Benefiting from someone that was rich, okay? Like there was the Jeffersons,
Oh, yeah.
with George and Wheezy,
Moving on up.
Yeah, hey, they was moving on. Deluxe apartment in the sky. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or there was Arnold and Willis, and because they hit the lotto with Mr. Drummond, in different
Yeah,
strokes,
they
right?
sure did. They sure
That was
did.
rich. That was rich.
That
I
was
know we
rich.
kind of dating ourselves here, but that was rich, right? That was before, you know, Fresh Prince of Bel Air and all of that type of stuff. That was what we saw. Now in the
That was the
streets,
original.
there was a way different story, right? The people that I saw, having money or looking like they were balling were entertainers that you would see on the weekends on our version of the Chitlin circuit, Soul Train, right?
So
That was it, man. Like, so in my Don Cornelius voice, I'm gonna tell you, it was the hippest trip in America.
there you go. There you
You know
go.
what I'm saying? A biggin' you sure enough gonna be digging, right? That's what we saw. That was rich because we could see the entertainers. Now, that again, we talk about not having much to see on TV, but that's what it was, right? And if you didn't see that, you definitely saw the G's and the hustlers in them streets, right? Like
For
we
sure. For
saw
sure.
them,
We saw
and
that. Making money.
exactly driving nice cars, having the nice clothes on in the jury, and we thought that was rich. Now, let me tell you, they were hood rich,
Yes.
okay? They were
Oh yeah.
hood rich, right? They were probably thousandaires, okay? Like they weren't, millionaires, right? They had the nice clothes, the jury, and all the ladies. When I was a kid, you couldn't tell me that they weren't rich, KP.
Oh yeah. You could tell your thing. That's right. Because that hey, you model what you see at
Yeah,
the end of the
yeah.
day, and that's what you saw. So that's what it was, right? And those stories that you were just going through with the Jeffersons and different strokes and the G's in the hood, it reminds me of how a lot of us confuse having money with
Mm-hmm.
being wealthy. Because there's
Mm-hmm.
a big difference. Those guys you just talked about that were hood rich, they had money, but they didn't have wealth. Because
Right.
I can guarantee you that stuff was going up in smoke, probably
Yeah.
literally,
Right. Right.
every single day. And I think
No.
it's
No.
important for us
Absolutely.
to talk about not only who has wealth, but to talk about who's managing that wealth creation
Right.
at the
Right.
end of the
Right.
day. And that's why I wanted to spend some time today talking about that and having us talk about that a little bit. So, in today's episode, we'll talk about kind of the genesis and the current state of wealth creation in this country. We'll provide our receipts like we normally do on generational wealth gaps in America and black professionals in finance. And we'll close out by providing a double dose of secrets today on how to individually close the wealth gaps and what companies can do to help close this wealth gap as well.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is gonna be deep here, and I know people like say, man, how do y'all come up with this stuff? Yeah. Well, there's never really a shortage of things to come up with, especially with the current administration. We'll just put it that way, right? But let's start by just going back to the legacy of this country's founding. Okay, now what were the engines of economic growth and wealth creation? Who was benefiting? Who was excluded? Like if we just start there, you can see
Yeah, we
this
know
is
the answers.
yeah, you can just see here. Although there's a push, to erase history, okay, as we know it, right? Again, slavery, we call it involuntary relocation. But like, although there is a push to erase history so that you don't know about the truth, you would be hard pressed to find an example of wealth generation in the history of the America and most other civilizations that didn't start with the theft and colonization of another population.
y'all,
Okay?
y'all watch out. Ricky, get ready to
Yeah,
preach.
I'm just telling you. I'm telling you. Like if you start with the indigenous people, okay, you can talk about the Aborigines, in Australia. You could talk about the Hispanics and what they did to even build, this nation, right? We could talk about the Moors, okay? We could talk about Africans, like all of that. The one common denominator, well, I would say the one common denominator for all of those is melanin. At the end of the day, it's like, well, even if I wanted to say take it even further than that, the common denominators is melanin, oppression, and power. Those three right there. I'm not making any of this stuff up, KP. These are historical facts.
No, it's very true. It's very true, and it doesn't even matter at the end of the day what part of the world it was in or anything else. it always seems like the person who has the most melanin in the skin is the one that's the most oppressed. It doesn't even
Hmm.
matter. It doesn't even matter at the end of the day. And in addition to those examples that you just shared, there's things like redlining and lack of access to capital that have held certain groups of people back for generations, right? You think about the black service members, they were kept out of the GI Bill altogether after World War II. I mean, that created the middle class in America,
Right.
was the ability to buy a house, get it for cheap rates, live out in the suburbs, all those things. And our black servicemen and women were kept out of that, which is why we
Right.
don't have no house now, right?
Right. Right.
And our thriving neighborhoods, they were burned to the ground in the 20s and 30s. I mean, we all know about Tulsa, but there was dozens of other examples of neighborhoods that were just like Greenwood and Tulsa that were burned to the ground during this time period. Whereas, it's like we're just trying to get our little piece and just burn it down, right? And we continue to be plagued by all these predatory lending practices, those paycheck stores, and higher interest rates and stricter credit requirements. All this stuff is designed to slow wealth creation
Right.
for our
Right.
people at the end of the day.
Discourage you, make you not want to fight, make you just say, hey, this is just the way that it is.
Yep. Yep.
And look, Lisa Cook's story is just a chapter in a long history of what black professionals face. Like, we talk about it. This is secrets right here, right? I mean, look, they ain't shut us down yet, Keith. So we're gonna keep telling
Yeah,
everything,
we're going to
right?
keep talking to them now.
You know? So let's start by reading Lisa Cook's bio. Lisa D. Cook took office as a member of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System on May the 23rd, 2022, to fill an unexpired term ending January 31st, 2024. Okay, so just giving it some context there. She was reappointed to the board on September 8th, 2023, and sworn in on September the 13th, 2023. Okay, for a term ending January the 31st, 2038. Okay, so she's supposed to be in office. She's
She's
supposed to
supposed to
be in
be
here.
here for a long time.
Right, right. They're like this. She probably wasn't gonna have another job after this one, man. She wasn't supposed to. 2038. Okay. Prior to her appointment to the board, Dr. Cook was a professor of economics and international relations at Michigan State University. From 2018 to 2021, she was director of American Economic Association's summer training program. She was also a research associate at the National Bureau of Economic Research. Look, I'm not even done. Okay, Keith,
Not
I'm
even
still
done.
going.
That's
Okay,
right.
we're talking about credentials. We're talking about overqualified just to be qualified, right? So again, previously, Dr. Cook was on the faculty of Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government. Okay, Harvard. During her time at Harvard, Dr. Cook also served as Deputy Director for Africa Research at the Center for International Development. Before then, she was a National Fellow at Stanford University. From 2011 to 2012, Dr. Cook served as a senior economist on the Council of Economic Advisors under President Barack Obama. From 2000 to 2001, she served as senior advisor on finance and development in the U.S. Department of Treasury, Treasury's Office of International Affairs. Dr. Cook received a BA in philosophy from Spelman College. As a Marshall Scholar, she received a second BA in philosophy, politics, and economics from Oxford University. She earned a PhD in economics from the University of California at Berkeley. In other words, she got game, Keith. I
She
mean,
got all the receipts.
all of it. All
Love
the
it.
game. All the game. All the game, right? I mean,
Yeah,
man, okay, look. So
it's crazy.
why? So why? Okay, so again, remember when you start something, what you mean to tell me? When you
Yep.
say you mean to tell me it ain't about to be good, right? So you mean to tell me like this administration is singling her out of all of the federal governors when her history suggests that she leans towards lowering interest rates as monetary policy, and all of the federal governors have been in lockstep on interest rate policy. So we're
Yeah.
saying
So why
out of
her?
all the people to go for, like go
Why?
after, we going after her.
Why her? There's 12 of them on there. This is the only one we done heard of, besides Jerome Powell, who's the chair, right? Ain't
Right,
heard
right,
about
right.
nobody else. What y'all think that is?
Yeah, exactly. This just a happenstance. This is just a
All right.
coincidence.
It's not coincidence.
No, not at all.
As they say, it is not coincidence. And her story resonated with me because, in many ways, I understand her journey because there's so few black people in the world of finance and economics,
Hmm.
right? All throughout undergrad and B school, there was almost every time I was the only, in my classes. And much of my career has been the same at the end of the day. You know this, Ricky, right? Where I'm the only one in the room or the only one in finance, even in the company or a
Right, right.
division. And you're just constantly being challenged about stuff that don't even matter. You've been challenged about your worthiness. I remember when I was living in Ohio and this dude who was a peer. We're both financial analysts, right? And he, uh, I came from Detroit, and I was like on a rotational assignment, and he was
Hmm.
mad that I was in the rotation because this was kind of a
Hmm.
new thing, right? And as soon as I got there, he was like, "I know you think you're a hot shot, but I'm here to tell you you ain't shit, and I'll do everything that I can to make your life miserable,
Trying to
if
put you
it
in your
comes to that."
place. Trying to put you in your place. Like how many? Like this is what we have to deal with. Like always,
Right.
somebody, somebody. Who, I mean, the real part is somebody who's not even a decision maker
Not even a
is
decision maker. We
making
peers.
it hard for you and trying to create some narrative and hoping that it catches legs.
Absolutely. It ain't my fault you've been sitting in this chair for several years. I ain't got nothing to
Right.
do with that. I'm just not getting here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. And the other thing that's always tripping me out, I know you've experienced this too, like there's this look of surprise and awe when you walk in the room, right? When people see your resume or just see your name and your credentials, they have this whole image of you. And then you walk in the room or nowadays get on that Zoom and it's
Hmm.
like, or they look you up on LinkedIn and it's like, huh.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you see all kind of views. Such and such has viewed your LinkedIn profile. You be like, we was just in a meeting together. Why are you looking at my profile? Oh, I
That's
see.
right.
He's
That's
trying to
right.
check my credentials. You know what I
That's
mean?
right.
He's trying to check
Yeah.
my credentials.
Oh, all the time, all the time. And I'm sure Lisa's experienced this. We've experienced this. All the gaslighting, the micro and macroaggressions, people taking credit for your work, questioning whether or not you deserve to be like the top person, sitting in the seat, all this crazy stuff. It just goes on and on and on. And at the end of the day, it all takes a toll. And it almost took me out at one point, in my career where, you know, it all takes a toll. People start to have health crises or,
Hmm.
they start to have family problems, arguing with your spouse, just all kinds of
Right,
things that can
right.
pop up. At the end of the day, it's that baggage that we've talked about a lot that you're carrying around and nobody even sees because of stuff like this that's
Yeah.
happened to that lady and this that happened to us.
Stuff that don't make any sense. I mean, we're going back to birthright stuff here. Like Barack wasn't born in the U.S. and this, that, and the other. It's like we're spending time talking about shit that really just doesn't even make sense. Do you know
Don't
what I
even make
mean?
sense.
Just doesn't even make sense. Now, what struck me in your story is that certain people are deemed worthy of managing money. We're not even talking about having. We're talking about like
Yeah.
managing the
Yeah.
money and overseeing the finances of companies
Hmm.
in our country, right? Like there's always like some criteria,
Right.
there, right? Some hidden stuff. Even though you went to one of the top business schools in the world, had a luggage full of receipts. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You have still faced questions about your ability to manage the financial affairs of many organizations in America. Like you've been doing this. Like most people might not. Most people just rest on the calendar, meaning I've been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
Not whether or not you've been doing it right. Not
Right.
whether or not you've been like they just rest on like the calendar. I've been doing it for 30 years, so that makes me qualified. Not I've been doing it wrong for 30 years. Or I've never moved a needle, or I've never made an organization money. I just been doing it. And we look at those credentials and say, yep, they've been doing it for 30 years. We got Lisa over, our sister Lisa Cook. She been doing this for hella long, like we say in
Yeah.
Oakland, hella long, okay?
Hello.
And we still are saying she ain't quite qualified. We're putting kinks in the armor, like unproven, pieces here and trying to wait for it to grow legs.
Yeah. It's all just craziness at the end of the
Yeah.
day. And and I ask people, Seekers Village, anybody that's listening right now, I just ask you, look around and reflect who is working and financing your organization, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is managing your money? Who is providing you financial advice? Who is talking about money matters in the media and online? If you look at CNBC or some of these other financial channels, who's always talking? Who's the talking heads, right? And and then thinking about who has access to capital. I it sure does feel like to me that like you're sitting there wondering, it's like, how did this dude get millions and millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars for his idea, and you may have somebody else with the same idea and they can't get a dime.
Nothing. No, we
What is
talking
that
about
all?
ways why it won't work.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
We talking about the ways why it won't work.
That's right. And you can look at those lists too. Who are the richest people in America? You just go down the list. Go down the list and just see who's on the list. What does
And
that tell you?
again, when we're talking about who is worthy of wealth, and I won't take us down a rabbit hole, but when you look down the list and you look, and if there's anybody with like a little melanin in their skin or somebody who went through it and didn't get it the same way that someone else did, we're going to start trying to poke holes, in the thing. It's just a matter of time before we figure out a way to take a large sum of their generational wealth, right? To discredit them, or something to that degree, right? Again, the powers that be, they say you're able to have this. We're gonna chip you off a little bit, and you're able to keep it, so to speak. But you know what, KP? There is a strange reality to how the leader of the U.S., okay, we'll just refer to him as 45/47, is really in this world using his power to create wealth for himself first and foremost. Let's
Oh yeah,
not
there's
get
no
it
doubt
twisted,
about that.
okay? Then he's breaking off his loyal followers. Okay, and when I'm saying breaking off, I'm not saying not at equal. Like not
No,
that he wants them to have the same or more than he has,
yeah,
but
can't
he
do
will
that.
again. Nah, he'll chip them off some though. He'll chip them off some immediate, and to some generational wealth for their families, to be able to enjoy all for the price of their blind loyalty.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it is.
now contrast this with the people who are out there actually sacrificing, putting in work to solidify equitable wealth creation. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
out there actually putting in the work. They got the receipts. They got the scars. To be able to show it. Right. Trust me when I say the power structure would like for the latter. The ones who aren't in the know. They would really like for all of that to they would really like for all of that to just stay.
Oh,
The
for
way that
sure.
it is.
That's
Right.
right. No, you always want the status quo, or you want to go back.
Right.
That's
Right.
even worse, right?
So again, so trust me when I say the power structure would love, for us, to remain fragmented and unable to swim upstream to generate or even sustain any of that wealth that we're talking about. So again, it's not by accident we're talking about who's worthy, of wealth,
That's
and
right.
whatnot.
Who's worthy of it and who has it, and that's why Lisa Cook's story matters at the end of the day, because it shines a light on what black professionals in finance and economics, what they face. No matter how good they are, they're gonna find
Yeah.
something to try and tear you down. At the end of the day, it can be this is like a little scab, this trumped up mortgage fraud claim, which isn't true at all. I mean, there's been so many news reports that say it's not even true, but it's still like still spinning, still swirling in the news.
It's spinning like a wheel, and we're spending
Yes,
time,
yes,
on it. Right?
spending
It's
time.
getting legs
That's
real.
right.
I mean,
That's
look,
right.
I mean, I think, look, KP, the impact of all of this is just unfortunately a very familiar tale. Where we just kind of know how this ends. Like we've seen this
Mm-hmm.
movie, before. The generational gap between the haves, the have-nots, and again the never will haves.
That's right.
Okay,
The never
and
will has. I love that.
exactly, it just continues to grow like every single day because of things like this.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, as we've been talking about all of this stuff, I mean, if you think about it, at the end of the day, wealth should be available for everyone, right? There should be
Hmm.
no doubt. I mean, again, this isn't about splitting the slices of pie. It's about expanding the pie and making it bigger. And if these folks truly believe in meritocracy, then you really got to unshackle those at the bottom of the economic ladder if you want everybody to be able to enjoy the fruits of their
Right,
labor, right?
right, right. I
Which
mean,
is great.
but again, but if you really want, and we know they
That's
don't
right.
really want, yeah, okay,
That's
they
right.
don't really want.
Because they're trying to go back to,
Yeah, yeah. Trying to make it great again.
to
We
the
trying to
good
make it
old
great.
days.
Yeah, we're trying to make it great. Trying to make it great, man. Well, look, again, Keith, I know people listen to this every single week when we have these podcasts. They say they just putting a lot on this. Like they just emotional. They're just angry Negroes. You know what I'm saying? They're angry black men, And you know what? To some degree, that's true. I am angry about stuff like this because it should not be.
Yes.
Okay. But what I want to be able to do in this point is just this is when we just show you that we're not crazy. You're not crazy, right? This is when we start talking about the receipts. And today we're going to share some receipts on the generational wealth gaps in America and black professionals in finance. Okay, so KP, do us this one solid and hit us with receipt number one.
Yeah, one solid. We'll talk about this generational wealth gap. And we've talked about this before, but I want to reemphasize it again. According to Pew Research, the average white household has an average net worth of $250,400 compared to the average net worth of black households of $27,100.
Whew, that's a huge disparity, man.
10x. 10x.
Yeah.
And that started, as we talked about at the beginning, that started with the GI Bill. I mean, it started way before then, but the GI Bill after World War II really started expounding that gap
Mm-hmm.
between white folks and black folks. And with respect to black households, evidence points to the role of slavery and post-slavery practices such as segregation that created these disparate opportunities for wealth accumulation. And in turn, these factors likely contribute to the lower rates and sizes of inheritances received by black households in comparison to white households. Because you and I know we ain't getting shit from our
I'm like
families.
inheritance. I was gonna have to like Google that. What does inheritance mean? I was gonna have to look that one up real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Oh
that's
man,
right.
inheritance. But the thing about it though is, as blessed as we are, we're talking about like our kids, nieces, nephews, because we were able to understand and achieve and whatnot. We're hopefully being able to leave that legacy to them. But this is the generational wealth we're talking about. If the power structure would have it, you wouldn't have shit to leave anybody.
That's
At
right.
the end of the day, right?
That's
And
right.
this is why we're trying to expose this to some degree. But now look, receipt number two. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, households with a white householder made up 65.3% of all U.S. households and held 80% of all wealth. I'm going to pause real quick to let folks let that sink in, okay? Those with a black householder made up 13.6 of all U.S. households, but held only 4.7% of all wealth. Furthermore, about 1 in 5 households with a white householder and 1 in 20 households with a black householder had wealth of over $1 million.
So
Okay?
20% of white folks and 5% of black
Yeah, yeah, if that. You know what I mean?
folks.
Like,
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
That's householders.
Yeah, exactly. So just under 1 in 4 households with a black householder and 1 in 12 households with a white householder had zero or negative wealth.
Okay. So 5% of us have net worth over a million, and 25% of us have zero or negative net worth.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Wait,
I'm
this
following.
ain't even
I'm the
hustling
finance
back.
guy. I'm following.
Yeah, wait, but this ain't even hustling backwards. This ain't even hustling.
That's right.
This ain't even hustling.
You can't even hustle. You can't even
Yeah,
move backwards.
yeah. This ain't even hustling, man. You ain't hustling backwards. You're not even in the game right here. And again, we'll never be in the game. So this is why we're talking about the haves, the have-nots, and the never will haves.
Yeah.
Again, this is a perfect example of it.
Yeah. And those are two. I mean, if those two stats about generational wealth don't tell you something, I don't know what will, and I
Yeah.
don't know what will motivate us to keep keep fighting
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day and keep trying to create that wealth at the end of the day. I mean, again, this is why we have secrets at the end of the day. Receipt number 3, according to a study by Coin Law, in 2025, black professionals represent approximately 5% of the U.S. finance workforce.
Mm. So it's 95% out there that's represented.
Yeah.
5% is us. 5% is us.
5%.
Wow.
And if I recall, every company, every organization, every mom and pop shop in this country has somebody working in finance.
Yes.
And we
Yes.
5%. And a recent Fortune article pointed out that only 3.2% of doctoral degrees in economics are awarded to black people each year. So
We
let's
talk
go
about
back to
purple
Lisa Cook.
unicorns.
Go back to
Yeah.
Lisa Cook, right?
Yeah.
So that's what she is. And more than
And
52%.
but Keith,
Yeah.
real quick, like as far as I can recall in my history here, don't all companies have a finance department?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Like so feel like they all have a finance department, and the argument we hear is there isn't talent, out there. We're talking there is talent,
That's right.
there, and we're
That's
not,
right.
and we're saying not even if you have a doctoral degree, like there is still talent, out there.
That's right. That's right. Continue on with this study. More than 52% of black economists experience racism and or discrimination, and less than 1/2 of 1% of all top economic papers across a 30-year period have explicitly addressed race and ethnicity. 1/2 of 1% of all economic papers written over the last 30 years talk about race and a lot of those were done by Lisa Cook
Yes, exactly.
and some of
Hey,
her compatriots, and that's why they're in
yeah,
the crosshairs.
yeah, and we're not gonna talk about it. We just not gonna talk about it, right? We just not gonna. And again, if our um, illustrious power struggle here continues the way that it is, if we won't hear about this at all, you know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna erase all of this from
All
history,
of
and
it.
we're gonna pretend like it's not happening. We're gonna pretend like it's just not happening. Okay. Receipt number 4. In a 2025 survey, 55% of diverse candidates said they were discouraged from applying for finance roles due to the industry's reputation for exclusivity. Retention rates for minority employees in finance remain low, with 33% leaving within the first 2 years, citing a lack of career growth opportunities. I mean, this is big so far, right? 48% of financial institutions identified unconscious bias in hiring and promotions as a key barrier to improving diversity. Now, Keith, I don't want to out anybody. I'm not going to call out any names, but I would venture to say is we have a very large percentage of these folks that they're talking about who are discouraged, who are talking about lack of growth opportunities, who listen to secrets, okay, who are some of our clients, our coaching clients. This is real. Here, right? We're
I mean,
talking this
that
is real.
last sentence, they were telling on themselves. I mean, 48% of financial institutions said they have unconscious bias in hiring and promotions, and that's why they
Mhm.
can't increase their stats.
Well, and that's why we're not managing the money.
That's right.
Why we're not managing the money.
They ran and told that,
Yeah, yeah.
and
And
still
look,
can't
these
get better.
and again, the joy in secrets here is we're like we are telling these unwritten and unspoken, truths, here, right? Like this is telling you everything you need to know. Like they don't want you talking about this, right? So look, Keith, I as fired up as I am, and we could probably keep on going on about this. I think it's time for us to start talking about these secrets, right? Giving people something to be able to how to deal, with this, right? So today we will provide a double dose of secrets on how to individually close the wealth gap, and what companies can do to close the gap themselves, right? So let's start out, if you can, in terms of what can we do individually to close out the gaps, right? So there'll be three pieces here that we'll touch on. Number one will be maximize your retirement alternatives. Number two, pay yourself first. Number
Mhm.
three, get a financial planner. So KP, secret number one, go in a little bit deeper on that one for us.
Yeah, maximizing all your current company retirement alternatives. Please contribute the max that you can on your 401k, 403b retirement plans. 8 to 12% is a good target to shoot for, in
Mm-hmm.
your retirement plan in terms of what you set aside. And at the very minimum, you should max whatever the company is matching.
Mm-hmm.
That automatically doubles your investment. And the compounding effect of this stuff is real.
Mm-hmm.
If you put $10,000 away when you're 21 years old, that'll be worth over $400,000 by the time you turn 60 without doing a damn thing. Just put it in the S&P 500 fund and leave it alone. You ain't got to do nothing.
Look at him talking about. Hey, he talking about what he know. He talking about what he know. He ain't talking about what he heard. He talking about what he knows.
But he does. That's a,
Facts.
so max as much as you
Yeah.
can. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's key. I mean, that stuff adds up. It absolutely adds up. Look, secret number two: pay yourself first. Look, this is in line with KP's first, secret that he just spoke about. But put money away for you and your family before spending on the present, like things that are happening right now. Look, I know this is hard. I absolutely know it's hard. I've been there. Like again, I get it, but because we want those rims. You know how I am. I wanted me some rims when I was a little bit
Right.
younger, right? I wanted
Right.
me some rims in my fly clothes from the oak tree. I did
Yeah.
want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That nice vacation. Everybody wants to go and get that vacation and all of those things, right? But if we just set aside and invest some money before we do those fun things, if we earn the right to do those fun things,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
we'll create generational wealth without even really trying to do it, right? This is like that discipline, right there. But pay yourself first.
Exactly. It's like tithing, right? If you go give the church 10%, you might as well give yourself 10% too.
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
start from there. That's right.
Uh-huh.
And then go from there. And the last one, get yourself a financial planner. Over my career, I've learned that there are so many options out there to shield income from taxes and how to invest for the long term and how to create wealth from generations to come. And it's things that most of us don't know about. And most of them won't even learn about or hear about until we reach a certain income level at the end of the day. But if you know a planner, if you have a planner, they can walk you through those things and start to get you set up um, for creating that wealth that you're looking for, and not just having money, but actually creating wealth for yourself.
Yeah. Rich, you don't want us to be hood rich. The
That's
financial
right.
planner to
That's
help
right.
you to help you be hood rich and actually wealthy.
Yeah.
There too, right? Look, I mean, those are some really really good secrets, and I think the biggest part of all of those is it does take discipline, right? It does take some
Yeah.
humbleness. It takes
Yeah.
some discipline. Now let's just take some time to discuss what corporate America can do to close the generational wealth gap, in our country. Right now, again, this is where like it really takes trying to do the right thing, here. So secret number one, is let's just talk about just close the gender pay equity gap, right? We know it exists and we keep doing it, keep perpetuating the same injustices every single day. When we look at what a woman makes versus what a man makes, we come up with all kind of examples on whether it be about education or we just haven't seen them exercise the same levels of leadership or they need to do these things. All of these boxes that need to be checked as a woman, and we work with some of these cats that ain't checked half of them boxes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're getting
Exactly.
paid more. You know what I'm saying? Like they're getting paid more based off of who they know, based off of the industry, based off of time and role. So again, close the gender pay equity gap. Corporate America, you can do this. You have the
You could
power
do
to
it.
be able to do this.
You
This
could
is not
do it.
hard. This
It's
isn't
not
hard.
hard. It's not hard. And to build on that, that secret number two is not just gender. We know there's a racial pay gap also that needs to be closed because we know black folks make 65% of the dollar than white folks.
Yeah.
Uh, so you got to close that gap too. And black women are the least compensated of all, So and that all needs to stop at the end of the day. And it really isn't that hard to do. It really isn't that hard. It just takes will to do it and a desire to do it.
Yeah.
At the
The
end of the
commitment.
day, I have
Yeah.
sat in the finance chair. I've been sitting in it for a long time, and any job that I'm in, that's one of the first things I look at. Right? It's like, how are people getting paid for doing the same job? And let's try and close that gap in the next 2 to 3 years, if there's a gap, which there almost always is.
Yeah.
But how do we close those things? I mean, that's part of being a responsible and compassionate leader.
And part of what you're supposed to be doing. Like that's part of
Right,
the job description, right?
right,
That's supposed to be
right.
people doing that. Look, I mean, secret number three, for corporate America is just eliminate bias and discrimination in hiring and promotion processes. I am in HR. I hear this. I see it every day. And again, we all work around functional leaders, CEOs, whoever it is, and they talk about this, but there's always a reason why it continues to occur. So again, we have to use our platforms, use our seat to be able to eliminate these biases, right? Like again, if you have to do blind interviewing and take the person's name off or take some qualifying or identifying characteristics off, and just look at the resumes and say, okay, this person has everything that we're looking for. Oh, wait a minute, it happens to be a Hispanic female. Oh, this happens to be this, type of individual. Then roll with it, right? Because credentials said what they said,
Yeah,
there, right?
yeah,
And then
that's right.
interview and don't interview for reasons why someone won't fit. Interview for reasons why someone might enhance the culture, how someone may be able to get you into untapped markets, while someone may be able to go in and encourage others to come on board for this journey, as well at your organization. So just eliminate those.
Yeah, for sure. And the same thing with promotions. I mean, you need some objective criteria. I mean, we've talked a lot about how once you get to a certain point, it's all subjective, but that don't make
Yep.
it right. At the end of the day, you still should
That's true.
have some objective criteria for moving people through the organization. I shouldn't have to drink beer or smoke a cigar or whatever the case may be to get to the highest levels in the organization.
But if you want to be my friend, Keith, you're gonna have to drink out of like one of these red solo
Coach
cups.
Red Solo Cup. See, that ain't
No,
happening. So that's why I'm not gonna work for you.
you act like you too good to drink out this red solo cup. This village, Keith acting like you too good to drink out this red solo cup. I'm gonna take a picture. I'm gonna take a
I'm
picture of
allergic
Keith
to
drinking.
plastic. I'm allergic to plastic.
I'm gonna take a picture of Keith drinking out one of these cups, though. I'm gonna tell you.
Oh boy. And you can find more resources on these secrets and receipts that we shared today by going to our website, secrets.com, look in the show notes for the episode, and there'll be a lot of information there for you.
And look, Secrets Village, as you can already see, we are all about this Revolution 2.0. This is not a time to crawl into a hole, hide your head, or wait for your turn here. Our collective resistance and humanity will win the day for all underrepresented employees. And we can't do this without you. Like, we need everyone. There's a reason why, even though the environment says don't do it, we're still doing it. Here, right? Help us out by telling 5 friends to listen to this podcast. Join our LinkedIn and Instagram pages and like our daily posts. Write a review on Apple or Spotify. Get some gear. And also, hey, we're working on this YouTube, page here, right? Like, if you want to see what me and Keith are doing when we're actually like the live presentation here, you can actually go in there and kind of look and get some of those vignettes. So we're trying some new stuff, but again, we can't do this without your Secrets Village. We're looking for you all to help us keep growing this revolution here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ricky and I be a little silly sometimes on the podcast and whatnot, but we're totally serious and locked in when it comes to your coin. And that's why we were talking about generational wealth creation today, right? We've helped you through coaching and get over $14 million in compensation increases since we started C-CRETS. And we want to get that number to at least 50 if we can, right? So again, this is your opportunity to dig in. I know people are nervous right now about everything that's going on, but we all need a little help. So I'd encourage you to stop putting off coaching, invest in yourself, tell a friend, and we're going to continue to give you tools and tips and tricks on how to boost your career and also how to just tap into our collective humanity as we manage our way through some of the things that are going on in the world right now.
Absolutely. And look, KP, let's go get this coin for our village, man.
Yeah,
like we're on a mission, here, right? We're gonna refill these cups. I'm gonna refill this solo cup, and Keith's gonna refill his porcelain cup over here. That's what Keith's gonna. Yeah, exactly. And we're gonna get back to cracking on building this wealth revolution for you all. So Secrets Village, we just appreciate you. We love you. Thank you for tuning in to the Secrets Podcast. And remember, when we share, you transform.
That's right. Peace, everybody.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed yet another episode of Secrets. If you want to be a part of the Secrets Village after listening to Keith and Ricky, please show these brothers some love by spreading the word to people that you know need this knowledge. Until next time, cheers!